No, that's the first I'm hearing, to be honest with you. How was your week?
It was fine, no. It was
Mm.
fine.
You're adding an O to it. Let me be specific. How was yesterday? Did you have fun or did you stay at home?
Okay, yesterday was fine, no. I was at home, oh.
Ah, okay. Sorry. Oh. It's
Mm.
fine. It's fine. All right, no problem. No problem. Let's get right into it. We have a lot to discuss today. Like I said, for those that did not start or join us from the beginning, Victor is going to be joining us later. I think he will join just in time to give the breakdown or the guide for the lab setup. I know he must have been working with a lot of you over the course of the week for your Linux, your Kali Linux installation and download, and also your lab setup. So he's going to be coming in to probably finalize on that so that our practical classes can proceed going forward smoothly. Okay, it's 8:11. We have less than 2 hours. There is a lot to cover, but I want to ask this question. Some resources were sent over the course of the week. I think Monday this week on the various concepts that we want you to be introduced to for your week one. And I want to confirm how many of you were able to religiously go through those resources to at least have an idea of what we'll be discussing today. By show of hands, you can use the reaction button. Just there is, if you're not used to Google Meet, you can just use there is a hand icon there. You can just press it if you are able to go through the materials we shared. So I can see Esther's hand is up. Thank you, Esther. I can see Euphemia's hand is up. Thank you. Jide, your hand is not up yet. Okay, it's up now. Thank you. Mary, your hand is not up. Were you able to go through it? Hello, Mary. Are you with us? This is going to be a very interactive class. So,
I
so
think she's trying to get people to the call, even myself. So I'm a bit. She's trying to get other persons to the call and also to other stacks.
okay. It's
Mm.
fine. No problem. No problem. I understand. No problem. Okay. Okay. So, Jide, your hand was up. Let me ask you, what was your experience going through the resources in just a minute? What was your experience going through the resources? Could you relate with them? Were there things you found confusing? Were there things that you would want us to focus on a little bit more today? I would want to hear from you.
Hello, okay, thank you. So I was able to go through the resources that was shared, and the particular one that actually caught my attention was the phishing and the malware.
Okay.
It actually opened my eyes to so many things we take for granted,
Mm,
especially when using the internet space.
mm.
And for me, it was quite interesting.
Okay. Okay. Marvelous. Awesome. Fantastic. Is there anything you would want us to focus on to explain more as I talk over it that you've not truly
Yes,
understood well? Okay. What's that, please?
yes. I think the cyber security frameworks.
Okay. The cyber security frameworks. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let me go to Esther. Esther, same question I asked Jide. Did you go? Okay, you said you went through the materials. Did you find it interesting? How was it? Any particular thing you want us to focus on?
Okay, yeah, it was interesting. It was really an eye opener for me, really. But then I would like us to focus on that cybersecurity trends. There were some
Okay.
trends he mentioned I could not exactly relate to. So if you could just throw more
Okay,
light
can
on
you
them.
mention the
And then
trend specifically that you could not relate
he
to?
mentioned a lot, though. There were a lot. But maybe we could just focus on the one he projected for 2025. There are some trends he projected for 2025, and so maybe we
Okay,
could
it's
just
fine.
focus on that, yes. And then
Yeah,
the
it's
other
fine.
one Jide mentioned, the frameworks. That
Okay, the
particular
frameworks.
video for me was a little bit so fast and too, I don't even know the word to use. But that was the only video that was a little boring for me, seriously. So, so if we could just go through it, but I'll still try and go through the video too again. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much for your response. That really helps me know what to focus on. What else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, now people are joining in. Yeah, Euphemia, please, over to you.
Okay, I was able to go through them. It's very interesting actually. But the side I don't really I think I would like more light on is that cybersecurity framework, right?
Interesting.
Interesting. Yes. Because in the videos I see, I don't know if the person is very fast or all those plenty right up on the screen. It's
Exactly.
making somebody
You
not you
got
don't know when he's saying something, you are trying to understand
you're
what is on the
exactly
screen. It will be
what
as if it's a different thing from what he's saying. So it's kind of
Okay.
distracting and yeah, so
Okay.
that part is somehow for me. Yeah.
No problem. It's fine. It's
Mr.
fine.
Toby,
Thank
please
you.
can I say something?
Yes,
Or can
Esther,
I
go on.
make a request? Okay, so for that framework, I would appreciate if there is another video that we can have to help us better understand, because that the way the guy was talking, it like it was he was I could not relate, or like the other videos you could relate, but that one I really could not relate with him. He was so fast and I don't know. So if there's
No
another
problem.
video you can help us with, please. Thank you.
It's fine. No problem. No problem. Okay, someone has joined. Amara, good to have you on the call. I've spooked her. She ran away. Okay, no problem. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I think the major conversations were around, what do you call it? The cybersecurity trends and the cybersecurity frameworks, most especially the frameworks. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to go over the entire week one concept, but I'll try to ensure that I hone in on those particular topics more. If you still have questions by the time I am done, please point me in the direction that you are still finding lacking, and I will try to put justice to that, please. And yes, we'll send another resource or multiple resources that would also help you understand the cybersecurity framework more. Sincere apologies for that, though. Yeah. Okay, no problem. So you might be asking, is this a conventional way to teach cybersecurity? What we are currently doing, and I think we need to address the elephant in the room. I don't know what you're expecting, but if I'm being told that, oh, you're going to be attending a class whereby they're going to teach you about cybersecurity and what it's all about, what you might be expecting might be the teacher comes to class, maybe presents a couple of slides to you and talks to you about various things, maybe a couple of practical sessions, and that's it. You're giving assignments and maybe discussion points, whatever. Unfortunately, that's not the approach we are using, which is something that Victor touched on last week as well, because we came together and we said this concept of cybersecurity. Number one, there is no singular way to teach it. Number two, it's very convoluted in the way it's structured, in the sense that if you meet 10 cybersecurity professionals, experts, and tell them, how do I teach a beginner how to be proficient in cybersecurity? How do I teach somebody that has no background on what cybersecurity is all about and be able to explain the various concepts and the various aspects of the field to them in such a way that they'll be able to have intelligent conversations with people after we are done with them? I'm very, very sure that they're going to give you 10 different ways to achieve that. Now, why is that the case? Because cybersecurity in itself is an offshoot of information technology and a more closed niche of what you call information security, right? So before you get to information technology, before you get to cybersecurity, you should have gone to information technology first, of which is just called technology, and you should have gone to information security, which is a broader sense of everything information, whether it's physical, whether it's in the cyberspace, whether it's in a handwritten form, whether it's in the DIX format, whatever it is that needs to be secured, even if it's a jewel, even if it's a whatever it is, secure information, assets, value. That's it. Then cyber security now focuses on the security of things that are mostly in the cyberspace. What you will see in your computer, your systems, your networks, and what have you. So because of that not so straightforward path to it, there are multiple ways to teach it. And to be honest with you, what we have planned for you in 6 weeks or 7 weeks is very ambitious, too ambitious, in fact. It's something that you can take you 6 months to go through. And if you doubt me, you can pick up your phone and Google. Very weird I'm saying this, but you can Google cybersecurity course. I know that's like tautology, but yeah, you can Google's cybersecurity certification course and try to find out the typical timeline it takes to complete that course. And you will hear it takes on average 6 months to complete that course. And I can assure you, if you can go through that course from beginning to the end, you are a cybersecurity professional, because the course is really, really good. Of course, it's not free, but it takes you from ground zero and takes you to an appreciable level of competence in the basic things that you should know, right? So imagine that someone that has zero experience is being asked to learn cybersecurity in 6 months, and here we are trying to do it in 6 weeks. That's very ambitious. And that's why we are saying, okay, you know what? It's possible. We can do something. We'll take you to the level where you can continue the journey on your own, and also ensure that you have all the necessary resources and tools that you need to succeed in your journey as a cybersecurity professional. And that's why we are giving you the topics beforehand to go ahead, read, get familiar with it, point out the areas that are kind of complicated for you, like you just mentioned, cybersecurity frameworks as a major one that you didn't find so funny, so that when we come to the class to discuss, we can then be able to focus on those ones that you might be finding challenging where there are still knowledge gaps, and gloss over the ones that you've kind of understood to a good extent, right? So that is why we are using this approach, just in case you still had that doubt. Hmm? So what I'll be trying to achieve today is to look at the topics that are covered in your week one, ask you questions. Yes, I'm going to be asking you thought-provoking questions that would really want to test if truly you've appreciated the knowledge that you've been put through for your week one. And we can continue the conversation further in other ways, right? Okay. So talking about cybersecurity, I'm not really going to bore you with defining what it is. I think Victor tried to do justice last week, and I'm not going to rehash it again. But there is something I want you to understand when you look at, because you might be wondering, so what then is the scope of cybersecurity? What is it really trying to protect? And to make it really simple, I can just say, when you are trying to protect systems, okay, networks, data from attacks. And now I will pause there and try to focus on those three things, because that really encapsulates everything we're trying to discuss today. Systems, networks, and data. Now, when I say systems, I mean information systems. I don't mean system as per your computer, laptop. I know in Nigeria, we call everything system. Digestive system, or respiratory system, or whatever it is, laptop, or everything is system, okay? No, I mean information systems. Now, I don't want to use a lot of buzzwords for you. And if I ever use that, I would also try to explain, okay? So information systems in this context, I'm not going to try to explain that or define that for you, but I'm going to tell you what it entails or involves. And it involves three things. Number one, information systems involves processes. Number two, it involves technology. Number three, it involves people. Where you have people, processes, technology, you have an information system. I repeat, when you have people working with predefined processes and leveraging technology, you have an information system. That cycle in itself represents information system. So cybersecurity does not only involve in protecting your laptop. Your laptop is in the technology angle because your laptop is a product of technology. You operating your laptop, you can always see that you are already in the people angle. Now, you are doing something on your laptop. Let's assume that you are at work. You are being asked to raise an invoice, or you are being asked to prepare a document. That document obviously has predefined processes that you are expected to follow. There's supposedly maybe a template that you are just supposed to leverage and put in relevant information. That's a process. And of course, when you are done with that particular document, you have to send to a particular predefined person in a predefined location, and that person will review what you've done and then send to his own boss, which will then spur up another chain of reactions or actions. That is a process. Okay. So I've just tried to explain in a nutshell what an information system is and to tell you that cybersecurity, it involves securing and protecting people. So yes, what you are trying to learn now is to protect also yourself and other people that has to play in an information system. Processes. Hope you know that the fact that you have power in your house today is because there's an industrial system somewhere that has been programmed to work to deliver power to your house. And even if it's a generator that you're using, that's still a system in an extent, and that's coming from a technology angle. If anything were to happen to that system, whether it's NEPA, whether it's solar, whether it's your generator, and somebody steals your generator or breaks it down or damages it, what happens? Power would not come to your house. Okay? Now, looking at the technology, I think this is the one that actually has the most popularity when it comes to what cybersecurity is all about and what it protects, because you can see that there's a plethora of technologies that are all over the place. You can see it in web design, you can see it in software development, you can see it in artificial intelligence, you can see it in wherever you go, you're always seeing technology being flashed in your faces. And of course, everything runs on something under the hood. And that is what cybersecurity is trying to protect. Networks. If you are listening to me, you can hear my voice, you can imagine my mannerisms, but you are not in the room with me where I'm currently making this call from. Why is that? 100 years ago, this would have been magic. The fact that you can hear what I'm saying in almost real time, and you can talk to me and I can talk to you without us being in the same space. That's almost magic. But it runs on something. There is something that makes us talk to each other, some protocols, some technologies, some predefined things. Is a wire that has been run or that runs around or in the sea, undersea cables that makes our communication work. And that is a part of network. We are going to look at networks in detail next week, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to bore you with too much information. And of course, data. Data is the things we are trying to exchange, the things we are trying to work on, the things that carry information and have some value, some sort of value. What typically organizations are trying to protect from unauthorized access. So I think I have tried to paint what cybersecurity involves to you, because you know that, okay, cyber security, you are securing something, but what exactly are you securing? Processes, technology, people, networks, and data. From what? From digital attacks, unauthorized access, from theft, from damage, whatever it is. Okay? Now, that foundation was very necessary because it's going to be the basis on what you would be learning going forward. Okay? And the reason why I had to take some time to make you understand and appreciate this better is because cyber threats are evolving and they're becoming more sophisticated. And why you ask yourself, why is that? It's because our information systems are also evolving and becoming more sophisticated. You have a phone with you now that can do something that could not be imagined as little as 100 years ago. Of course, if we were at the era of exchanging information via letters, I would not need to spin up Kali Linux on my laptop, would I? Can someone give me feedback? Would you need to have Linux on your laptop if we were still doing letters? Oh, I want to be sure I'm not be talking to myself.
We will not.
Okay, I mean, it's very obvious. We would not. There's no need for you to go through all that. What you would need in that era is probably a horse, a sword, or all these pistols that used to roll these revolvers, if a pistol was still invented then, and probably a cat, not CAT or CRT, that you can use to chase whoever the postman is that is delivering the letter. And you can use your sword to threaten him, collect the letter, destroy it if you want to, read it if you have to, or steal it if you wish to. Okay, and that is what you would need to do. You don't need to go all the way out to start thinking of, oh, how will I spin up Kali Linux? How will I get Bob suit? How will I bring Metasploit? Is an overkill. You don't need all that. In fact, that is not even applicable in that space. So because information systems are becoming more advanced and sophisticated, because the networks are becoming more expansive and very efficient, and because data is becoming more difficult to even detect and even intercept, cyber threats also have to adapt. So there's always an adaptation. It's either from the bad side or from the good side. And from the good side, I mean the normal people like you and I that are trying to be good. People from the bad side are people that are trying to access what we don't want them to access. So if information systems get more complicated and sophisticated, the bad guys have to adapt and also get more intelligent and sophisticated in the ways they try to access information. And also, if the bad guys become more advanced in the way they do their things, if they find loopholes in what we've been able to create, and maybe they were not able to do A, B, C, D before, and now they can do it, we also on the good side have to be more innovative and techy in the way that we secure our own systems. So in a way, we have good and bad, and one cannot exist without the other. That's the way it is in this case. Everybody is just trying to outdo the other person so that we don't get caught with the headlights on. Okay. And I mean, let me just go to the cybersecurity pathways. I've tried to create a foundation. Please, if there's anything that you find confusing, I want to give you the permission to unmute your microphone and interrupt me so that I can explain that concept there and then before we move on. Okay. So I know you saw about cybersecurity paths and all that. Now, the truth of the matter is this: we cannot exhaust the pathways that exist in cybersecurity. There are a lot. In fact, new ones get evolved and invented as we speak. I can assure you that. I want to do this in a very relatable way. So, because I've already said that things evolve, hackers get sophisticated, we as defenders also have to adapt and make our systems more intrusion proof. We are going to need a lot of roles, a lot of people. Not everybody is going to hack. I understand this. I want to make this relatable as possible for you. If your idea of cybersecurity, you want to be a hacker, I can assure you might be wrong. Not everybody is going to hack, because hacking is the most fanciful way of cybersecurity. Oh, I want to be a pen tester. I want to be an ethical hacker. I want to be able to break into things. I want to be able to hack into systems. I want to be able to gain access into places I'm not supposed to gain access. So I mean, if you see it in the movies, it's really pleasing to the eye. But yes, why that is one of the career paths in cybersecurity, it is one of the most minor ones, to be fair. And if you want to Google it, feel free to. The job opportunities for defenders, the blue side, are much more than the red side, which is the hackers. And that's the way it is, because an organization only needs one hacker to test if their systems are foolproof, and they would need at least 10 people to that one hacker to be able to create systems that are very defense or intrusion proof. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you all to manage your expectations that not everybody is going to be an ethical hacker. But of course, to look at career paths in cybersecurity, you would have analysts, or what you call information security analysts. They are more like your SOC analysts, security operations center analysts, that are just trying to monitor security breaches, investigate violations. Now, this one is one of the easiest ways to enter into cybersecurity. Why? Because the demand for SOC analysts or security analysts are really, really high. And the skill level you require to be a level 1 SOC analyst is not so much. If you have been able to complete Sec Plus and ISC Square CC, that's Certified in Cybersecurity, I think in a fair recruitment process, you can be able to apply for a SOC analyst level 1 and be able to get that role. And one thing with SOC analyst is once you enter, you've entered. From level 1, you can move to level 2, you can move to level 3, and before you can even move to the red team. Okay? Of course, you have the popular ones, the penetration testers or the ethical hackers. And their job basically is after the SOC analysts or the defenders, the administrators have done their best to harden or tighten the information systems that houses the data, the networks, and everything that the organization or the enterprise holds there. They will now try to simulate attacks to see, okay, you say that this system is foolproof, meaning this process, this technology, and these people are foolproof. Let me try to see if I can break into it. And they will try to exploit your processes. Assuming your process is not foolproof and is not tight enough, they can exploit that. Assuming your people are not well trained to understand what phishing simulations are, I will talk about that shortly, or understand what cyber threats are, they can exploit that. And also, if your technology is not foolproof in the sense that you are using outdated software, your protocols are insecure, they show information in clear text, they can exploit that as well. And that is what pen testers try to achieve. And then you have the consultants. These ones are more high level. They are most people that go through this are people that work in consulting firms, like maybe a KPMG, a Deloitte, PwC, EY. I worked in KPMG myself, and I can tell you that security consultants are a very, very viable way to get into cybersecurity. This was how I got into cybersecurity, actually, by being an information or a cybersecurity and privacy consultant. And what do? We just prepare slides. We just prepare slides and give it to CISOs or make presentations to CISOs, to CEOs, to CFOs, or the people that matter in different organizations, and advise them on best practices with respect to cybersecurity. Of course, that's not true. We do much more than that. We also try to provide cyber as a service to them. It can be pen testing, it can be vulnerability analysis or management. We can also outsource some of our staff to them to help them achieve or implement things. Because of course, after you assess, you recommend, you might be brought on board to implement. Okay? So yes, consultants, very, very key as a pathway in cybersecurity. But one thing I would want to warn for security consultants is it's one thing to advise people on how to do it, but can you do it yourself? And that's a food for thought. That's a food for thought. I will not say no more about it, because when it comes to advising people, it's very sweet. I always say that the job of the pastors in church on Sundays is a very sweet job, because you just advise and advise and advise, and you always give this ideal, perfect world scenarios on how people should live their lives. But are you also living your life the same way? Food for thought. Food for thought. Yes, we also have CISOs. These are the dawns of information security in an enterprise, the people that oversee everything related to cyber and information security in an entire organization. These are people that have extensive years of experience. They've gone through the ropes. They've been maybe SOC analysts. They've been pen testers themselves. They've been consultants themselves. They've maybe diving into forensics themselves, and they've accumulated extensive experience. And they are now coming to oversee what happens in the space of a company with relation to cybersecurity. At least 15, 10 years experience is needed for this role. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm trying to run. We don't really have much time. Victor might join any moment from now. Any questions? Let me know if I can just move on to the next thing. Are we all good? Feedback, please. Feedback would be nice. Okay, someone has their hand up. Yeah, Euphemia.
Sorry, I missed that. The SOC analyst, what are their functions? What do they do? Sorry.
Okay, fine. So SOC represents Security Operations Center. Now, what does the SOC analyst do? It's pretty simple. What they do basically is they look out for, or maybe use the word monitor. They monitor notifications for security breaches. And once they get those kind of notifications, they always immediately investigate to see if that's a real threat or not. Okay, now I need to go deeper a little bit for you to understand this better. When you enter an organization, typically, you would have what you call a SIEM. A SIEM. SIEM is spelled SIEM. And what does it mean? It means Security Information and Event Management. Now, what this does is it collates security data from all the components of information systems that you have, mostly from the technology side of things, because in an enterprise, you make use of a lot of technology, an insane amount of technology, right? And you cannot, most technologies by the way, have logs, right? Log, L-O-G. Log are like events that are happening. Someone tried to authenticate, it logs it. Someone tried to, someone exited or logged out, it logged it. Someone did something, it logs it, right? You cannot now begin to look at all the platforms, all the technology platforms that you have, the applications, and start trying to check each one by one. What happened in this one? What happened in Microsoft? What happened in Process Maker? What happened in this Cisco router? No, it's a lot to handle. Okay, so a SIEM, Security Information Event Management, is what collates all the data from all your sources, both on premises and in your cloud environments, and puts it in just one view. So whenever there is a log or there is something that is harmful, because when someone tries to break into your system, if you have a good information security practice, that should be logged, right? You should log it that, oh, someone has logged in or tried to log in from this location, or someone has tried to try this password 3 times and his account has been locked out because of a number of account trial failures, right? So it logs that, and it has a ranking system whereby if it suspects that this is a very serious security breach, it can rank it high and send you a notification, because this has gone wrong, you need to check this out. So basically what a SOC analyst does is he or she will go, of course, they're always looking at screens, right? Always monitoring, always investigating. So when they get a notification, he's going to drill down to that notification and try to understand better what really happened. Okay? And if it's any information that requires further investigation, he sends it to the L2, level 2 SOC analysts for further investigation and attention. If he feels, no, this is not a false positive, this is not just a cry wolf scenario, this is actually serious, let this, my superior, most likely an L2 SOC analyst, investigate further. And that one investigates further. If it's a really serious issue, if there's an L3 support level, it's sent to the L3 support level to also confirm that this is an actually breach. And if they confirm that, okay, this is a breach, then an incident management process or procedure kicks in. Does that Does that make sense now? Does it make sense? Who asked the question again? That was Euphemia, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. You're welcome. Okay, one reflection point I want you all to take note of is this. Before I move on to malware, phishing, ransomware, and social engineering, have you considered it that if there were no bad people on planet Earth, then there will be no need for cybersecurity? Do you agree with that statement? This is a reflection point now. I want you guys to talk.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Uche. Does anybody disagree? If you disagree, please just let me know. Okay, I would say that as an agreement. The very essence of cybersecurity as a field is because bad people exist, right? And just the same way we would not need the police or the court of laws or the prisons or even the lawyers. Law as a field would not be needed if everybody was honest, everybody was transparent, everybody was good. Okay? Same way we would not need cybersecurity if there were no bad people trying to look at what does not concern them. And that's something you need to think about deeply. So if it ever happens that everybody in this world becomes born again and really decides to change for the better, you have no job if you're a cybersecurity person. But we know that's not going to happen. So let's continue. Okay, let me quickly talk about trends. I know there was a little note about that from somebody, and I have noted here like 4 trends I want to talk about. And if it doesn't make any sense, please let me know so I can have more details for you. But yes, there is the trend of AI in security or AI in cybersecurity, and that is really, really important because was it in 2021 that ChatGPT came up and revolutionized the space of technology forever? And we've seen so many efforts to try to win the AI race since then. We've seen Gemini, we've seen Claude, we've seen Perpetuality, we've seen Deep DeepSeek, yes, DeepSeek's R1. We've seen a lot. In fact, at this point, we are AI saturated. Everywhere you go, AI. Every product, AI. Everything that is AI-able. That's a new one, AI-able. AI-able has been brought into the AI space. If you want to open your browser, you can either use your normal Google search or you can use Copilot. Okay, so in a way, our view of technology as we know it has been changed forever. But then, like I said in my first opening remark, if there is a sophistication in an information system, it would mean that the bad guys needs to find a new way to leverage that and gain access to unauthorized information. Now, AI has come in. Do you know that AI can be used to make the work of cyber threat actors, their lives even easier? Now, AI can be used to make our lives easier. You can automate so many cybersecurity processes. You can automate threat detection and even response with artificial intelligence. But also, you can automate cybersecurity attacks without the need for human intervention. So you can see that balance there, that the introduction of artificial intelligence has changed the game for cybersecurity as we know it forever. Do you also know that with quantum computing, cryptography as we know it will soon be dead? That's a trend you should take note of. I'm not going to bore you with the details of what quantum computing is, but it's a very weird sort of computing. But the general summary is that it's much, 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 much faster than the fastest supercomputer. And if you know a bit about cryptography, you would know that it's all about mathematical formulas, functions, and algorithms to make something that is supposedly clear text become encrypted text. And if something can be able to calculate or decipher what the algorithm about that particular cryptography is all about, it can break it. Just the same way, if you have a very skilled pick locker, you can just come with their tools and break your padlock. That padlock is dead. So any padlock that is in the vicinity of that pick locker is a done deal. So what do you have to do? You have to make your padlock foolproof to that particular pick locker. Then you look at cloud security. I don't know who amongst you work in the space of IT. I know I think an amount of you here are like software testers, or I don't know, Shabo. I know that when we were doing the intros last week, I had tester. So you should know that there's a movement now of cloud first. Everybody wants to move from on-prem to the cloud. We don't want to have servers in our data centers anymore. We don't want to have routers and switches just lying on-prem. We don't want to have virtual machines running on servers that we've placed in Iraq. No, we want to move almost everything that is movable to the cloud. Meaning we want to put our resources on places like AWS, like Google Cloud, like Azure, okay? Or Azure, like I was calling before when I was still new to this thing. So now, because the game has shifted from on-prem to the cloud, hackers or threat actors have had to think, how can I get access to those things that are no longer on-prem, but now in the cloud? Because before, all you had to do was to be able to break down physical security systems or do what we call wiretapping, where you put a particular device in on a wire, and then you'll be able to look at the traffic that that particular cable is passing through. A very nice way of manning the middle attack, if you know what that means. Don't worry, we'll talk about those things in future. So the game has changed. So from thinking about that, you are now looking at how can I gain access to AWS? There is an account for Coca-Cola in Azure, for instance. I want to gain access to their production environment to see what they've stored there. How am I able to get someone's credentials to be able to log into a dashboard or a portal that exists somewhere in the cloud? To be able to access applications, look at source codes, to look at files that have been kept there, or the virtual networks that have been created. I don't know, I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to picture for you, but just show that these are trends that have now changed the way we secure our cloud assets. I don't know who in this space heard about the instances of AWS, what do you call it? AWS S3 instances that got leaked to the internet. So basically, the S3 is what you use to store data, just like a sort of a database kind. I'm not really going to go into details about what it means, but it stores data basically in AWS environments. And rule number one, if it's a confidential information you're keeping on that particular S3 instance, you are not allowed to expose it to the internet, meaning it's not allowed to have a public IP address. It's supposed to be only internal, meaning if anybody is to search for that particular resource, they will not be able to find it on the internet. What happened? The cloud administrators created those instances and put a lot of valuable information on them. And guess what? Exposed it to the internet. Hackers saw that there are people that scour the dark web every second to look for assets that are exposed to the internet. Even on the normal white web, like we call it, there are platforms that you can go to be able to look for assets that are exposed to the internet. And if you have access to check them, you can even check what services are running on them. People were able to find that particular IP address, check it out, and voila, they saw stuff that they were not supposed to see. Because of that, AWS had to make S3 instances not open to the public internet by default. Before, they were relying on the administrators to make it private by themselves. But when they saw that, oh, this was actually an issue, they had to make it by default. Unless you yourself open it up to the internet, it's going to remain hidden. We have zero trust architecture, what we call ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access or architecture, whichever you want to call it. So think about it. You have a house, okay? You have a house and you have the key to that house. Hmm? Once you open the door, the front door, you are able to access the parlor, but you cannot access the room if the door of the room is locked. So you also need to have the key to the room before you can access the room. Now, what ZTNA is trying to tell us is initial access to a particular resource should not mean total access. The fact that I've been granted access to a particular network does not mean that I should be allowed to roam freely around that particular network as if it's my own. No. I should only be granted access to what are specifically requested for. And if I want to request something else, I need to re-authenticate myself to be sure I'm the correct person. Right? So what that basically means is nobody is trusted once you have internet or once you have network access to a particular resource, a particular enterprise. You need to constantly re-authenticate yourself based on dynamic access controls and context awareness that can be able to allow them to be sure that you are truly who you say you are. Because before, what we used to do was that once you're authenticated, free, you can go anywhere you want to go. We trust that you're a good person. But now we've seen that hackers can get the credentials of someone on a particular user account or even spoof a MAC address and claim their legitimate workstation and connect to a network, okay? Because they've been authenticated to a network, we need to be sure and limit their access to what they can do until they re-authenticate themselves if they want to access something additional. That's a trend that is actually gaining space. I mean, it started from around 2020 when COVID came and people saw that, oh, we need to tighten our systems much more because of the new way of working, which was remote working. And from 2020 to date, it has actually picked up in space and it's been implemented wide scale now in most enterprises. Okay. Any questions so far? I want to enter into malware, phishing, ransomware, social engineering, just to talk about those bits. Any questions? Anything you want me to talk about a little bit more? I'm not going to spend too much time on this second part. I will just give pointers and move on. But I felt this foundational topic was very important because it's what you use to build up knowledge. Any questions? So I've done a bit of sessions in the past and they've always told me that it's one of two things. If nobody has a question after you've made a session or a presentation, it's one of two things. It's either you have been fantastic in the way you kill the concept, man, and you've been able to pass knowledge effortlessly and effectively that nobody has any question, or you'll be talking to yourself and you'll be speaking rubbish in the morning and nobody actually understand what you're saying and I just lost. So I really hope it's the former in this case. So one more time, any question?
No, from my end.
Okay. So I want to put a question now to was it Euphemia that said that? Okay, Euphemia, I want to ask you a question since you don't have any question. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. So I've talked about the trend in cybersecurity. What do you foresee would happen how do you think the role of a cybersecurity professional will change in the next 10 years from now till 2035? What do you think will change, or how do you see the role of a cyber professional evolving? How do you see cybersecurity as itself or in itself evolving as a field of technology in the next 10 years? And there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. I want to just hear your thoughts and know if you are thinking philosophically as well.
Okay, for me, I felt the role of cyber security will keep evolving, since everything is becoming internet and all that, definitely there will still be more threats, just like you said earlier, from the beginning of the class, right? So there will still be need for cyber security to be able to manage those threats in future.
Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much. Any other inputs? Any other?
Okay. I like to add. I
Mary,
don't
okay.
know. Sorry, I've just been moving from one class to another. But yeah, so I think with the rise of AI, we so the cybersecurity space would actually evolve a lot, and there will be need for like cybersecurity to actually be um way ahead, because with AI, I think that the threats would actually be, should I
More.
say, threats would be smarter. Yeah, obviously it will be more, but then
Mm,
I feel it would also be smarter because
mm,
AI, um, because of AI, right? So these
mm,
people who are cyber attacking people's data and all of that, they can actually use AI to even enhance what they are doing, right? So I
mm,
feel like the threat would even be smarter with AI.
mm,
And
mm,
then, so cybersecurity needs to actually evolve to the point where it is ahead of, right, of
mm,
AI itself.
mm,
So
mm.
that's what I think. I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary. One last question from me regarding this foundational topic. Do you foresee in the next 10 years that cybersecurity professionals will now lose their jobs because of AI? That AI would take over? Just the same we are seeing in the web development or software development space. AI is taking over there, and we are seeing cases whereby software engineering is not as fanciful as it used to be in the last 2, 3 years because ChatGPT can generate those codes even faster without or almost without mistakes, right? So the demand for low skill software engineers are not so high. Rather, it's now for more higher skilled engineers that can be able to even correct AI. So are you seeing a case where in the cybersecurity space, cyber professionals may not be so needed as they are needed now because of AI? Can anyone just answer if you have an idea about that?
So if I would answer, I think it would also be the same case, the same thing we have in the um, other tech field, like the software development, like example that you gave. If you are like if someone is, if you're a junior or maybe a not highly skilled cybersecurity professional, AI might actually be able to take your job. The only thing is, um, and I think it's also applicable to all the different tech fields, right? Not just the cybersecurity. I think the only thing is to try to stay ahead of AI, like I said before. Try to stay ahead of the curve. Um, they are using machine learning. They are actually training AIs, training models to like be smarter every day, to think more like human beings and all of that. So, but we actually need to try to identify some of the gaps that AI will have earlier before they do. I think that's what we need to like keep doing. Even as I'm answering as a cybersecurity professional now. Try to actually identify the gaps that AI would have way ahead, and then keep trying to be ahead of it. Basically, that's what I think. I don't know if I'm correct. I mean, I can answer.
Oh, okay, okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. Like I said, there are no right or wrong answers. I might have a different opinion, but your thoughts are very, very valid. And yes, even now, Seth, I always tell people that entry level does not mean entry level when it comes to cybersecurity, because you see entry level roles and they're requiring to have CISSP or CISM. I'm like, hey, how is that entry level? God have mercy. You understand? So there's really no right or wrong answer. I mean, they are all philosophical questions, which means no answer is not polar, that is yes or no, but these are just food for thoughts that I would want you to think about the future of the field that you are interested in and you are trying to know more about. All right, so I've done a lot of talking, and that was because I wanted to establish a foundation. Now, you are the one that will be teaching me. Okay, so I'll be calling out your names. I also want to be sure that we're paying attention. I'll be calling out your names and I'll be asking you to explain some very key concepts for me. We are talking about the basic cyber threats: malware, phishing, ransomware, and social engineering. Okay, now, Jide, can you explain what malware is for the class, please? Thank you. People are leaving the call because I said, please, it's not that deep. I beg, come back, come back. Tessie has been coming and going. So today, please, hope you will not run away too. This is where network used to have issues all of a sudden. Jide, I know you can hear me. In fact, you have been one that have been confirming that yes, I can hear you since morning. So please, what's a malware? It's a very simple definition. I don't want a textbook answer in your own understanding. Okay. I don't know if Jide is on his laptop, but let me go to
Hello? Hello,
okay,
can you hear me?
Finally.
Sorry,
Finally, yes,
my
Jide, please. No wahala, please. Go ahead.
malware is a malicious
You're saying something, Jide?
software that just created to damage a computer or the network. That's my layman explanation.
Okay. Malicious. I think it's a
Hello?
lag, but it's fine. Malicious software. Yeah,
Hello?
we heard you. You heard you, Jide. Malicious software
Can you
that
hear
is
me?
designed to harm a network or whatever. Yeah, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We heard you. We heard you perfectly well. Thank you so much. Who else? Esther. What do you understand by the word phishing? Tessie has been coming and going. Tessie, is there any problem? Please, are you having network challenges? Okay, no problem. Oh,
Yes, my network is working.
okay. Sorry
It's
about that. I
logging me out.
noticed it. It's fine. Esther, you on the call with us, please? What's phishing?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm on the
please.
call.
What is
No?
phishing, please?
Okay, so basically, what I understand phishing to be is where fraudulent messages are sent to individuals imitating um, authentic sources. Yeah, so they can get access to personal information, and most times it's through emails, messages, or links. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jude, your hand is up. Are you trying to say something? Jude, your hand is up. Okay.
Yes, I had a little bit of network. So I don't know if because
Yeah, I got your point. You said malware is malicious software that is used to like cause harm or something, to do something to like a system, right? That's what you said. Right? Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I got that. It's fine. Okay, so who wants to, okay, I'm going to ask who wants to. Ransomware. Amara Blissful. I like your picture. Amara. Esther, you can mute. Amara. Are you with us, Amara? I think Amara still in the love mode though, because I can see a love emoji on your profile picture. Okay, that brought you out. All right.
Okay.
Run somewhere, Amara. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, no time. Who wants to explain ransomware? Amara, are you talking?
Hello.
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I said ransomware is a type of malware.
Okay, I stopped. I couldn't hear you anymore. I stopped hearing you. Can you hear me now, Amara? Yeah, your network is breaking.
Oh, good. Hello.
Okay, let's try again. Go on.
Okay. I said ransomware is a type of
When you say ransomware is a type of malware, it just stops immediately. But say that now the network sabi.
Hear me now.
Okay, one more time. Let's try one more time if it can go now. I've tried listening to you like 3 times. I'll try one more time. Ransomware is a type of malware that does what? Okay, no worry. We'll try some other time. I will ask you another question.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, network is really. It's always when you are exclaiming or when you're about to define that there's network. Once you want to enter the main thing, network just goes off. I don't know what the agreement with VUI is. I don't know if it's MTN or Glo. Come on now. I'm not trying to shade any network, but come on, Haba. You should know better. Haba. Okay.
Okay.
No wahala, it's fine. Euphemia, do you want to try that for us? Ransomware, please.
Okay. Ransomware is oh like okay. Is a kind of malware that decrypts users information, right, and demand ransom to be able to give you access to your information. A kind of
Okay, you said decrypt. You said decrypt user information. Is that what you
yes,
said?
yes.
Okay. I think it's the inverse though. It's not decrypt, it's encrypt.
Sorry,
No.
encrypt user information, right?
Okay.
In a way that they won't have access to it again, then it will a kind of demand ransom for you to be able to gain access again to your
All right. Thanks for that, Uche. Tessie, social engineering. And your network allow you to speak?
Sorry, I want to ask, is social engineering a type of threat?
Yes, it is. It is very, very much a type of threat.
Okay.
Okay. Tessie. Yes.
Hello.
Social engineering. Yes.
Okay. It's a type of how do I put it? is a way of manipulating people into thinking or influencing or deceiving people in order to gain control or steal information from them, like personal information, like their their identity, their finances, or something, to get access from them. I don't know if I got it right.
Okay.
Did you hear what I
Thank
said?
you so much. Yes, I totally heard everything you said. And thank you. All of you have done marvelously well. Thank you. Thank you so much for your. I'm trying to look at the reaction and I'm clapping. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys have done fantastic. It shows that you've actually been paying attention. I really do hope that, because I noticed that everybody that asked a question gave like 2 minutes cap before they unmuted the microphone and started talking. Hope say it's not that you are going to quickly Google it. But it's fine, it's fine. No problem. Whichever the case is, the most important thing is that you learn, and whichever way is done, that objective must be achieved. Okay. So I will just go over uh, what I have here, and all of you are very correct in what you've explained, and I will just gloss over it again. So yes, malware. I mean, if anybody is asking you to define malware, if you tell them, oh, malware means malicious software, you are correct, 100%, because that is what it is. Malware is malicious software. We already know what software is: hardware, software. Who remember that joke? This is hardware, and when it's a girl, it's software. No mind me, Jerry. But software in itself is what software is. But any software that is created for malicious intent is malware, and usually they are created because you want to cause harm or exploit a device, a service, or a network. And then we have types of malware. We have the viruses, not corona now, please, or COVID-19, but you have a virus, you have a worm, and you have a Trojan. All these are types of malware, and there are many more to be fair, but these are like the major ones, to be honest with you. So viruses. I don't know who can remember what virus is all about. Then, when I was really young, and the concept of computers and phones, smartphones, came into limelight, that virus was very popular. Because we used to say, we don't bring virus, inside this laptop, Kai, or this phone. Why? The laptop is misbehaving. If they show 11111, if you open file again, or Microsoft Word don't crash, if they do anyhow, or this document where I save. I'm just speaking pidgin, please, because I'm trying to relate to what we used to speak, or we used to talk about those days. So basically, the idea then was that when you plug in an sorry, excuse me, when you plug in an untrusted USB device that has not been formatted or has not been scanned into your laptop, or you plug in something into your phone and you collect something from a laptop into your phone, like we used to do them with USB cords, and you go and bring in a device or a file rather that has virus inside it, it can damage your entire device in no time, right? So virus usually is something that you need to execute before it does harm to your device. You cannot virus, they are not living. I will call it, they are dead malware. Dead not because they are not alive or active, but because they need to be transported from device to device by the users. For instance, if a virus is on a particular laptop, it will always remain there until somebody go and use a coconut head and collect an infected file from that laptop to their own device. That's when the virus will enter the new device. But worm in itself is very special, and worm is like an advanced invention of what a virus is. A worm can move from system to system without you being informed. It does not need your permission to move from system to system, from enterprise to enterprise. It just moves and moves and moves and moves without without any intervention from you, and it's very deadly, very very deadly. In fact, for a Trojan will come as legitimate software. I don't know how many of you then used to download movies from websites. We did things, Sha. Only God has to save us. We download movies, we download games, we download files or application without, we just go to one side and download the APK and install and run without even checking to see if it's safe to use. Now, Trojan, they are even nicer. They will tell you, oh, this particular application is for this, is for that, is for this. And when you install it, yes, you would have the legitimate software, but with it, you also have something malicious that is running at the back end, and that's what Trojan is all about. It's from the Greek mythology or the Greek history of the people of Troy, and the is it Greek now? Yeah, the Greek guys that fought Troy and eventually won them because they could not penetrate the city walls after days of siege, and they had to use like a horse, a wooden horse, to pose as a gift of surrender. Meanwhile, that horse had soldiers inside it, and they brought in the horse with their own hands. They brought in that wooden horse into their city walls, and from there they gave access to the enemy without even knowing. So that's where the word Trojan was derived from. Phishing. Now, people might ask me, what's the difference between phishing and software engineering? And that's a very valid question. Does anybody know the answer to that question? The difference between phishing and software, or let's say software engineering, sorry. Social engineering, I mean, speaking software engineering since. Difference between phishing and social engineering. Who wants to give it a stab? Anyone? Anyone? Interesting. Nobody. Jide. I'm hearing some keyboards typing in the background, like pa 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 pa. Someone is typing sharp sharp to find what the answer is. I hope it's not you. If you know yourself. Okay, that aside. Jide, do you know the answer to that? Phishing and social engineering. Okay, no problem. Assignment. I'm not going to say the answer. Assignment for everybody. What's the difference between phishing and social engineering? That's assignment number one, and I'm going to put it on the group chat once we are done with this.
Okay.
Oh, you said okay because you want the assignment or you want to answer me? Which is it?
Oh, sorry. I was just noting the assignment.
Oh,
It's assignment for everyone. Abi?
yeah. So means okay. You don't know the answer, true. Okay, fine. It's an assignment then. No problem. It's an assignment. Difference between phishing and social engineering. I was saying that to make you somebody to talk, but since you want an assignment, no problem.
Please, for me, I don't really know. I don't know what social. I don't know what social engineering is. Right.
No problem.
That was why I asked initially if it's if it's a type
Part
of
of cyber threat.
yes.
It is, and it's closely related to. If you know what phishing is, then you would have an idea what social engineering is. So it's your assignment. What's the difference between phishing and social engineering? Okay, you can send it to me privately. You have my number on the WhatsApp. Yes, I want to at least 5 differences between phishing and social engineering. 5 differences. It's important because if you don't know that difference, you might not be able to appreciate what they really are. Okay, so that's fine, no problem. Ransomware, I think whoever answered this did justice to it. You encrypt a victim's data. For instance, you don't know how precious data is to a company. For instance, now think of Coca-Cola. You know that Coca-Cola has a secret recipe that nobody is aware of. Hmm? Imagine. And that thing is so precious to Coca-Cola that only according to the story, only two people in the world at any time knows what Coca-Cola's secret recipe is. Number one. Number two, those two people cannot divulge that information to anybody. Number two, or number three rather, I'm not even sure they know themselves. But let's assume they do. Number four, they are not allowed to be on the same in the same airplane. If they are flying, if they are traveling, person A cannot be in the same flight as person B. It cannot happen. In case you are hearing a lot about plane crashes these days. If those two die at the same time, Coca-Cola's advantage as a competition is gone because they're the only ones that know it. Now, whether this is true or not, I really don't know, because I mean, you ask yourself, because people that make the drink itself, how are they not making it? Is it that they will collect the formula? So, I mean, the information just has to flow from one person. I mean, it just has to flow. Maybe it's within tight circles, but I just feel it's not possible that a company as big as Coca-Cola, only two people will know. You know, it's being said that over 1 billion products of Coca-Cola, I mean, not just Coke now, the company Coca-Cola are consumed a day. Do you know what that is? Over 1 billion, meaning that when you raise a toast, if you are drinking, let's say Coke now, or if you are drinking Fanta now, which is also a product of Coke or Coca-Cola company, if you are drinking it and you decide to just raise your hand in a toast, there's a very good chance that somebody elsewhere in the world is doing at the same time with you. Imagine that. And then a company as big as that, only two people have a trade secret. Now, what do you think it will cost Coca-Cola if a hacker gains access to that information? Maybe it was written down somewhere in somebody's laptop, and they gain access to that information and encrypt it in the two people's laptops, and then maybe they not kill the two people. Nobody knows the Coca-Cola. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows it. Imagine how much they will have to pay to release, because without that information, without that data, they cannot survive as a company. They will pay billions of dollars to decrypt that particular file, that particular information. That is just to tell you how important data can be to a company. Very important. Trade secrets, trademarks, important files, top secrets. There are so many things in a company that should never be leaked outside the walls of that company. If not, their brand can crash in a second, right? So, okay, I think Victor is texting me. He wants to join in. We're almost done. Just give me a minute. Just a minute, please. Malga is trying to get updates. He wants to know how you all are faring and if I've been a good teacher for today. I hope if he asks you that question, you would say I have been. So I'm trying to ask him if he can make it before 10. And then from his response, I'm not sure he's so sure, but let's continue. No problem. Let's continue. We'll continue until he joins. If he's not able to join before 10, then you can do like a self-record of the lab setup and share to the group. And you can just follow along. And I believe that can work as well. I'm having fun with you guys. I don't know if you're having fun as well. Can you give me a reaction if you're having fun here? Having to explain these things in very relatable ways to you has just been awesome. I've even had to, think of concept that I've long left buried in my head for years now. So I was talking about Coca-Cola. So imagine what it would take them to pay one wicked boy from somewhere that is in high school, 16 years old, goes to steal that information and wants to encrypt it. Nobody has information or access to that information. They are going to pay billions of dollars to be able to access it again. And that's to tell you what ransomware can do to a company. It can cripple a company in no time. Okay, social engineering, I give you as an assignment. So I'm not going to bother myself with that. We have 30 minutes. I like keeping to time. So we'll go on to the CIA triad: threats, vulnerabilities, and risks. Any questions briefly before we go to this next one? Any questions? Let's wrap it up. Any questions? Okay, Esther, please go on.
Okay, so I wanted to ask all of these threats, like, okay, just for example, let's say attackers are able to have access to maybe a system or data and all of that. Just using an example, this ransomware, where they're able to encrypt data, and then probably the victim is able to, they're able to give them a way to decrypt the information so they can have access to it. Is there a way to prevent such from happening again, like with the
If
company? And since
yeah,
that
yeah.
information has been leaked, it has been leaked already, is there something that can be done in that light? Because that information has been leaked, meaning there's nothing that can be done again. I don't know.
Okay. A fantastic question. Awesome. It means you've been paying attention, Esther. Thank you for that question. Fantastic. And I would explain. So every attack has a purpose. Okay. A ransomware is not aimed to leak information. It's aimed to encrypt information, to make it inaccessible to those who own it. So if I gain access to your information now, for instance, the trade secrets for Coca-Cola, and I leak it to the public, that's not a ransomware. That's a data breach. You understand? So the purpose of an attack can change what it is. Even if I use exactly the same methodology to gain access, if I had to, maybe I saw a vulnerable Linux or Ubuntu or Windows OS that has not been patched, and I leverage a vulnerability that is there, or I even did a 0-day attack and I got in. If at the end of the day, after all said and done, I got access to your information and I encrypted it without leaking it out to the public, and I say, okay, you know what? Your data has been encrypted. You are not going to have access to this information, but I have the decryption key. Give me so and so money payable in this particular amount, and I will decrypt or give you the decryption key, and you can have access back. And you'll not hear from me again. That's ransomware. Okay? But if I take it and I leak it to the public, I leak it to the press, or I leak it to someone and I sell it for the highest bidder, that's no longer ransomware. That's a data breach. That's basically a leakage of sensitive information, right? So to your second question about what can be done to prevent a ransomware, now that we know that a ransomware is not going to leak the data, it's going to only encrypt it. How can I prevent a ransomware from happening? Or what can I do, rather, not prevent per se, but what can I do to safeguard my company from a ransomware attack? Who has the answer to that question? I'll only give 60 seconds to answer this. If you know the answer to this question, I'll be very impressed. Very, very impressed. Very impressed if you can know the answer to this question. Okay. If you know the answer to the question anyway, it's fine. You're not supposed to, but I'm gonna allow him shocked and impressed if you know the answer. Okay, so in a nutshell, if you have data in your production environment, in your life environment, and you are backing up your data religiously and faithfully, in fact, you are backing up your critical data. You know, data has different grade or rank of importance in a company. you might have the very critical information or the data, the not so important or critical, the significant, whatever. Okay. So the critical, typically you should be backing those ones in real time. Once there's something changes, once you add a comma in real time, it should be backed up somewhere that is not in your on-prem location, probably in the cloud or somewhere else. Automatically, real time, synchronized. Okay. If somebody now comes and encrypts what is in the live environment and now says, give me money or else I'm going to keep this thing encrypted for life. If you have a backup, would you be bothered, Esther?
No.
Okay. Because you have a backup of that data already, you are only going to say, oh, you know what? I dash you that information. Take it. I have a backup somewhere. And you restore that particular information from your backup and you create a backup of that backup. You understand? That's simple. Now, if the attacker now wants to leak the information outside, then that's a different problem entirely. A backup cannot help you. That's where your legal team, your communication, your external communication team will now have to come in and say, oh, we've spotted a breach and all that, blah, 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 blah. But if it's about ransomware only, which is only about encrypting and denying access until you pay a ransom, then yes, a backup will help you out in that case. Hope that makes sense. All right.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So to the final lap, before I enter the frameworks question that was a bit confusing, there are three things that you should know of when you are talking about cybersecurity. Actually, four, but three are the most popular: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Everything about cybersecurity revolves around these three. Confidentiality, I won't, because of time, I'm not going to waste time in trying to ask you to explain, but I'm very sure you have an idea of what it means for something to be confidential. Okay. So when I say keep this confidential with you, meaning that I don't want anybody's eyes to be seeing this thing. Or if I tell you a gist and I give you one very hot tea like that, which I mean by gist anyway, and I drag your hair and I say, please keep this confidential, Mary. Keep it confidential. Don't tell anybody. It means that if I hear it from Mama Neka's voice tomorrow, she's not telling me about what I only told you. It means you have not kept it what? Confidential. You've broken that confidence. You've leaked it to someone that I did not allow you to leak it to. Right? So you were the only one that was authorized to have that information I gave to you. But because you've told it to, you went to go and tell it to Mama Neka, you've now broken the confidential agreement. And now, Mama Neka, that is supposedly unauthorized, now has access to that information. That, in a nutshell, is the concept of confidentiality, ensuring that information is only accessible to those that are authorized to view it or to access it. Now, integrity. It's not enough that you keep it confidential. If you want to tell anybody next time, don't add pepper and salt to my story. If I tell you that Sarah, as a girl, don't get belle, or she goes in the family, or she has gotten pregnant, don't go and say she has gotten pregnant and she gave birth to a goat because you want to add pepper and salt to the story. No, I did not say she gave birth to a goat. I said she's pregnant. She has not even given birth. But you now say, oh, she has gotten pregnant, she has given birth, and she gave birth to a goat. Now, and you now go and say, I got the story from Toby. You can imagine that kind of problem. So, integrity. I give you gist. You want to spread my gist. Keep my gist as my gist. Don't add anything to my gist. That is integrity. I don't know if any of you play this game where, I don't know what it's called again, but someone whispers something to somebody, and you have to whisper what you heard to another person, and if you whisper to another person, and it goes like that, like that, like that till the end of the line, and then the first person says, "This is what I said," and the next person, the last person now says, "This is what I heard." Most times, the first person might say Coca-Cola, and the last person will say corkscrew driver. Why? Because information can be broken down in, or rather mutated or distorted as it's being transferred or transported. And that is what integrity is trying to understand, that you should ensure that your data is accurate from inception to final resting place and is complete, no comma, nothing removed. Then availability, which now ties to the question that Esther asked. Not only must my data be confidential, meaning that only authorized people must access it. Not only must it have integrity, meaning that nobody can be able to make changes to it without authorization. It must always be available. Because if my data is confidential and it has integrity, but me, I cannot access it, it's not available to me, then it's rubbish. Do you understand? So when you create systems that ensure that your information and your resources and your data are accessible to authorized users when they need them, then yes, that data is available. If you meet all the key points of confidentiality and integrity, but when that data is needed, it's not available, you've done nothing. And if you work in a company, you understand that out of these three, the most important, I would say, is availability. Because if there is a denial of service, for instance, I want to spin up a web application and I cannot access it, it's down. I don't care if it's tight and nobody can access it because you have a login page that has complex passwords and complex usernames, or you have certificates that ensures that the communication between your browser and the web server is confidential and encrypted. I don't care, because I cannot access that web app at that point in time. Then what you've done as a cybersecurity team is rubbish. So availability is very important, especially from an enterprise point of view. Now, there is a fourth one. There is a fourth one that is not so talked about, but is still existing. Who knows that? If you know it, I'll be very impressed again. By show of hands, do you know it? The CIA triad, there is a fourth one that nobody talks about. Somebody knows it. Okay, Euphemia.
I don't know. Is
Ah,
an
problem.
authentication. Sorry, authenticity.
You said authentication. Okay, good attempt, but it's not correct. By show of hands again. Anyone else wants to try? Good attempt, Euphemia. Thank you so much. Okay. So authentication, Euphemia, is tied to confidentiality. Why? Because if I want to access an application that I don't have authorization to, I would have to authenticate, meaning that you have to put in a username, and a password, right? If I don't have access, I'm not able to join. If I have access, I'll be able to join. It's as simple as that. So that's where authentication comes in. That fourth one is called non-repudiation. Non-repudiation. Yes, non-repudiation. 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 What does that mean? It means that if I do anything in an information system, I cannot tomorrow say I did not do it. As simple as that. Oh. Me, I like layman definition. I don't like complicated definitions. Life is not too complicated. Do you understand? If I do anything, if I log into an application, if I log into my laptop, if I delete a file, if I steal something, if I copy a file, whatever it is that I do in a cyberspace, I cannot tomorrow say I did not do it. Why? Because it would log it and say, oh, this was the person that did it. You cannot escape. How does this work? I will give you a very relatable scenario. When WhatsApp eventually heard our cries that we needed to have messages to be edited, I mean, in your WhatsApp application, you can edit your messages up to 15 minutes after you post it, right? Right? Please confirm in case you're using another WhatsApp.
Yes,
Okay,
true.
perfect. So, assuming you want to tell, let me use this funny scenario. Yesterday was Valentine, Abi. Assuming you go and tell maybe your babe now, for instance, babe, maybe the guy has been misbehaving. Maybe he's not buying anything for you in Valentine, and it is by this time yesterday. This is 9:46. Imagine this was 9:46 yesterday. You did not get any call from him. No flowers, no chocolates, no teddy bear, no rose, no nothing. Nothing. The man did not show working at all. And you're now boiling with anger. You say, Kai, this man does not love me. You're not going to, you know what? You're not going to type on WhatsApp. You know what, baby? I am done with this relationship. And you press send to him. As you're pressing send, you now hear paparara, paparara, papara at your door. The man has brought all the paparara to your house. He brought car for you. He bought iPhone 17 that has not even come out in the market for you. He bought Benz, GLK 5000 that is even going to come out in the next 10 years. He bought all manner, even bought an engagement ring for you. And he proposed, baby, will you marry me? And immediately he shouted, yes. But you're shouting yes. You're opening your phone and you're editing your message. Because I don't mess up. I've messed up, okay? So, non-repudiation is this. You edit that message from, baby, I'm done with this relationship, to, oh, baby, I love you so much. But what will happen? It will show in that message, in brackets, edited. You cannot say you did not edit that message. You cannot deny that you did not change that message from what it was initially to what it was later. That's, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, is the principle of non-repudiation. The fact that you cannot deny any action you take in an information system or in a network or on a data. The fact that you can be able to track what you have done so that you don't deny that you are the one that did it in the future. That is a very important principle in cybersecurity, just in case you did not know. Because a lot of actions take place, and if there's no way for us to trace who did them, then we cannot be able to track threat actors. Okay? So, a concept that ensures that a party or an individual or a group cannot deny the authenticity or the validity of their actions or communications. That is non-repudiation. That's the textbook version. Okay? Now, that is the fourth dimension of cybersecurity that you may not know of. And in a cybersecurity interview, they might ask you this question. Most people just know confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Assignment number 2. Tell me the difference between threats, vulnerabilities, and what's again? Risks, right? Yes. And risks. The difference between threats, vulnerabilities, and risk. That's your second assignment for today. The first assignment, don't forget, is 5 differences between phishing and social engineering. And the second I've just mentioned is difference between threats, vulnerabilities, and risks. It will shock you, ladies and gentlemen, that most people don't know the difference between these 3 terms. They are closely related, and I want you to be able to understand the difference between them. Most times when you have cybersecurity interviews, you are asked these questions. All right, now finally, let me talk about the frameworks. Let me talk about the frameworks. This was where most of you had issues. Now, the first thing I would say about frameworks is you don't have any problem. First of all, why are you trying to kill yourself about learning frameworks at this stage? You are supposedly beginners in cybersecurity. So you are not supposed to know in detail, in detail what frameworks talk about. But I would help you by giving you an overview on 3 popular frameworks, right? 3 popular frameworks. Now, what is a framework in itself, first of all? If I tell you now, Esther, and I say, Esther, I'm employing you as a cybersecurity engineer. I want you to be able to ensure that this company ABC, is abiding with the best practices in cybersecurity. That is your job. Now go. Will you know where to start from?
No.
Okay. Of course, you will not know. Even if you have CISSP, you have CISM, you have CCSO, you have cloud engineering, you have CCSSP, you have all the S and all the P's in your certification list. You will be confused on where to start because on your own, you cannot design from scratch a strategy that works for your company. So that is where framework comes in. Now, I believe some of you are testers, software testers. And if you are software testers, you would know the concept of frameworks or libraries, rather, libraries. Even frameworks, languages have frameworks. I also have libraries. And I think for JavaScript, one of the most annoying languages you can ever try to learn. Hallelujah. If you dabbled into software engineering like I did at some point in time, you know how annoying that thing can be. Of course, you need a bit of it in cybersecurity, by the way. But if you know about Node.js, that's a framework. Or is it Express.js? That's a framework of JavaScript that is used mostly for back-end technologies. Now, what does it do? It helps you not to do everything from scratch. And it's the same principle that flows into the cybersecurity framework that I'm about to explain. So as I told you now, if you should ensure that company ABC abides with the best cyber practices worldwide. You need to, first of all, you need to choose which framework do I want this company to abide with? Because some people have done the hard work for you. They've detailed it in very minute, controlled, step by step, how a company, any company, whether big, small, or large, or medium size, can be able to ensure that they are applying with, or they are complying with best practices in cybersecurity. That is where frameworks help you. Because on your own, you will not know where to start and what to do. You can get it all mixed up. You can even make a mess of it and even make it more complicated for yourself and for your company. But when you have a framework that you can easily study and follow them, oh, I should do this, I will do it. I should ensure that this is done, I will do it. I should block all this, I will block all this. That's when you are done, your company will be complying with best practices based on that framework. Now, that is the concept of frameworks in a not layman shell. Okay. Now we don't have one framework. We don't have one cybersecurity. We have a lot of them, but there are 3 popular ones. We have the NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology. We have the ISO 27001. We have CIS controls. Now, before I continue, Does anybody still have a question about cybersecurity frameworks before I go into detail? Because this was a particular topic that was confusing for you. I've explained what a framework is and why it is helpful in an organization or a business. But do you still have issues? Do you still want me to explain further? Okay, fine. No problem. So now NIST, a bit of background. NIST was originally created for US federal agencies. There was a need to have a standard code of practice for US federal agencies in relation to cybersecurity best practices. And that is when NIST was created. But because NIST was so good and so relatable and so widespread in its applicability, many companies around the world also adopted it as well, right? And it's not a standard, it's just a framework, meaning you are free to adopt it as you see fit. Nobody is going to come and check you later to check if you have done this or that. It's just a framework, a guideline. It's not a standard, right? So there is something that is unique to NIST. NIST breaks down all the things you should do in relation to cybersecurity to 5 things: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. I will briefly explain them. Identify. You cannot protect what you don't know you have. If I have a server on my environment that is vulnerable, maybe it's vulnerable to MS0170, which is one of the very popular vulnerabilities that can give an attacker full remote access control over your infrastructure. If I don't know that server exists, I can't do anything about it. I can't protect it. So the first step, in accordance to NIST way of doing a cyber strategy, is that you need to know all the assets that you have, all the servers, all the data, all the files, all the laptops, all the devices, all your softwares, all your licenses, everything that you have. You need to have them detailed in an inventory. And that should automatically be refreshing itself once something else is added or removed. That's a lot of work. I can assure you for free, to do identify effectively is difficult, because it will shock you that many companies exist today that have a lot of assets that they don't even know about. Do you understand? And that is why NIST is saying, first identify what you have before you can defend or protect it. Then after that, protect. Now that you know what you have, go on and protect it based on this, and this. Now, when you protect it, it does not mean that it's foolproof. Things can still happen. Threat actors can still find a way inside. But when they find a way inside, you need to be able to what? To detect that they've gotten a way inside. And once you detect it, you need to have a very, very, very fine way of responding to what you've detected. But responding is not enough. You must recover your systems back to the original state after you've responded. If after I respond, my web app on my enterprise environment cannot still come up, then I've not fully completed the procedure of incident management. It must be back to where it was before the intrusion happened. Now, that is NIST for you in a nutshell. In each of these 5 domains, there are a lot of things that you are supposed to do, a lot of controls, a lot of guidelines, a lot of suggestions that you cannot even use 1 week or 1 month to go through all of them. There are a lot. But that is it in a nutshell. For a beginner, that is what you need to know. I'm wrapping up now. Time is fast spent. ISO 27001 is not only a framework, it's a standard. Meaning that when you create a strategy around this particular framework, you can ask an auditor that is certified to come and check what you have done, Esther. when you've been given a mandate now to be able to bring the best practices based on a framework of your choice, and you decide, okay, I don't want to go with NIST, I want to go with ISO 27001, and you do that, you can bring me as an external auditor to check what you've done to ascertain that truly in company ABC, they are abiding with ISO 27001 practices. Okay? Now, this one is a lot to handle for so many people. And it can be a lot, to be honest. But it involves bringing up so many controls that you need to implement in an environment. So many. I think our last check, 93 controls or so. Imagine 93 controls, and each control can take you weeks to fulfill. Then CIS control is a very small, I think it has about 20 controls. Last time, I think they brought it down to 17. I can't remember. It's been a while. But it's for small businesses. They say they are for big, small, and mid-size, but I think it's mostly for small businesses that don't really have the resources or the budgets to do a lot. But yes, you can. They are still good, and you can tailor your cybersecurity strategy along their own guidelines to be cybersecurity secure. Okay. Final assignment before we wrap it up for today. What is the difference between an ethical hacker and a cyber defender? 5 differences. Or rather, I want a philosophical question to this. An ethical hacker is better than a cyber defender. Discuss for or against. I need to think about going to be a lecturer. God have mercy on my students. I'll be a sweet person, but like a year.
Jesus. Hey.
Okay. An ethical hacker is better than a cyber defender. Discuss for or against. This one is a philosophical question, and it's to test if you understand first of all what an ethical hacker is and a cyber defender, and if you think anyone is better than the other one and why you think so. There's no right or wrong answer. It's your own personal, but you need to bring up your arguments in a very, very nice way. I will post these assignments on the group chat, but before we wrap it up for today, it's 10:03. Any questions? We still about 9:06, so I still have like 3 minutes. We said 8:06 rather. We had to give some time for people to join in. So I have like 3 minutes to wrap it up. So any question before we wrap it up for today? Any questions, comments, feedback? Huh? Ha. Hey, no question, no comment, nothing. Hey, Toby, what have you done? Okay. Uche wants to talk. Uche, I saw you unmute your mic. You must talk. Yeah, talk. Euphemia. Yes, it's you I'm looking to.
I don't have question. No, the
Okay.
class is actually interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is there any complaints, any feedback, anything you feel we need to do better? This is like a 7-week or 6-week class. It might not be perfect from day one, but with your feedback, I believe in feedback a lot. It would really help to improve it as we move along. Okay. So if there is anything that gives you concern, maybe if I was too fast, if I didn't explain things properly, or my teaching style is not the best, please explain, or rather, please voice it out now or remain silent. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But please, I would love to hear from you. Okay, awesome. I enjoyed today's class. 1 more minute to 2 hour mark. And I look forward to meeting you guys again next week. I think Victor should be around then. He will take you all on Linux and networking. So next week is going to be practical intense. We've done a lot of theory today. So we'll start with practical from next week. And Victor will take you on that. All right, no problem. Thank you all for joining and enjoy the rest of your week. Or is it weekend? Okay, weekend.
Thank you very
Thank you so much. Thank
Do your
you.
assignment
much,
to
sir.
make a note changer for you next week. So I'm being nice now.
The last, I'm trying to assimilate the last one.
I will,
Ah,
I will
Jesus.
I will put it on the group, no problem.
It's
All
all
right,
right.
guys.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Bye.
Good
Good
night,
night.
sir.
Good
Good night,
night,
everyone.
everybody.